They say betrayal doesn't always come from strangers. Sometimes, it comes from the person you love the most, or the person you trust without question. I never thought I'd feel this way about someone I called my best friend. But 6 months ago, everything changed. The woman I laughed with, cried with, shared my darkest secrets with, the one I trusted more than anyone in the world, she broke me in ways I didn't even know were possible. And it wasn't death that took her away from me, it was her secret. A secret so deep, so unexpected, that it left me questioning every hug, every smile, every late-night conversation I thought was real. I remember that night clearly. The rain was falling softly against my window, the kind of rain that makes the world feel quiet, almost safe. I was sitting on my bed, wrapped in my favorite blanket, trying to make sense of the sudden emptiness in my chest. And that's when it hit me, the realization that the person holding me while I cried, the person who told me I was enough, was the very one quietly destroying the life I had built. My mind kept replaying every laugh, every comforting word, every moment I thought we shared. And each memory felt like a knife twisting deeper. I can't explain how it feels to love someone who's been lying to you the entire time. How it feels to trust someone with your whole heart, only to realize they were watching you, learning your weaknesses, using them like a map to tear your life apart. That kind of pain, it doesn't just hurt. It lingers. It changes you. It teaches you things you never wanted to know about people you thought you could rely on. I won't lie, it's still hard to talk about. Even now, months later, my chest tightens just thinking about it. I wanted to scream, to cry, to disappear. I wanted answers, but I wasn't ready for the truth that was coming. And when I finally saw it, oh, the way the world tilted beneath my feet. I knew life would never feel the same again. So stay with me, because this isn't just a story about betrayal. It's about trust, friendship, love, and the cruel twists that can turn the people closest to you into strangers overnight. And if you've ever loved, ever trusted, ever been blindsided by someone you thought you knew, then you already know how dangerous a secret can be. Welcome to Stories by TEE. Today, I'm going to take you through everything, the laughter, the lies, the heartbreak, and the moments that shattered me. And believe me, you won't see it coming. Let me back up a little, so you understand exactly who I was, and who I thought I could trust. My name is Lena. I'm 29, and if I had to describe myself, I'd say I was loyal, loving, and maybe too trusting for my own good. I always believed in the people I let close to me. Maybe that was my biggest mistake. My husband, Ryan, he's charming, ambitious, the kind of guy who could light up a room just by walking into it. People liked him instantly. Everyone, that is, except the part of me that was supposed to feel safe at home. Lately, it felt like we were living under the same roof but in completely different worlds. He was always working late, always distracted, always somewhere I couldn't reach. And when he was home, it wasn't the same warmth I remembered from the early days. There was silence. Quiet that sometimes felt louder than a screaming argument. I wanted to feel close to him again, but it was like trying to catch water with my bare hands, everything just slipped through. And then there was Maya. My best friend, my rock, my safe place. Outgoing, funny, always knowing the right thing to say when I was sinking under the weight of my own thoughts. I trusted her in ways I couldn't even explain. She knew about my fears, my insecurities, the little cracks in my marriage that Ryan would never see. She was the one I called when I cried alone in the bathroom at night. She was the one who came over with wine and chocolate, sat on my couch, and listened while I vented about Ryan's distance, about my loneliness, about feeling invisible. Maya was like the sister I never had. And maybe that's what made it so easy to let her in. She helped me through every heartbreak, every sleepless night, every moment I doubted myself. I told her things I never told anyone else, not even Ryan. And I believed, with everything in me, that she had my back. I really did. Our home, it was in a quiet suburban neighborhood. From the outside, it looked perfect. Soft yellow lights, a garden that bloomed just enough to make the house feel warm, cozy furniture, the smell of coffee and cookies on a Sunday morning. But inside, it felt cold sometimes. Not freezing cold, just empty. Silence in corners where there should have been laughter. Rooms that carried shadows of conversations that never happened. I spent a lot of time in those rooms thinking about Ryan, thinking about Maya, thinking about myself and what I might be missing. Maya, of course, didn't notice, or at least, she pretended not to. She filled the empty spaces with her energy, her laughter, her attention. She'd hold my hand when I was crying, tease me when I was overthinking, pour me another glass of wine when I needed it. I leaned on her without even realizing how much of my heart I was handing over. And maybe that's when things started to shift. Subtle things, at first. The way she would ask about Ryan a little too often. The way her eyes lingered on him during casual visits, a little longer than necessary. The way she laughed at his jokes, and not just laughed, giggled, leaned closer, made him feel like he was the only person in the room. At the time, I didn't think much of it. I trusted her. I really did. And in a way, I wanted to trust the world too, even if my gut was whispering otherwise. But I can see it now, even then, there were little signs. Foreshadowing, maybe. Subtle glances, lingering smiles, the way she always seemed to know exactly when I was feeling insecure. Little pieces of a puzzle I wasn't ready, or maybe too afraid, to see. It all started with Ryan's birthday. I wanted it to be simple, a small dinner at home, just a few candles, good food, and laughter. Nothing extravagant, nothing fancy. Just us, celebrating him, trying to feel like we used to. I spent the whole day cooking, arranging flowers, and nervously checking my reflection in the mirror, trying to make everything perfect. I wanted him to feel loved, noticed, appreciated, because lately, that's all I'd been trying to do, keep us afloat. Maya arrived early, like she always did, full of energy and sunshine. She had this uncanny ability to make every room feel warmer. But that night, the moment she walked in, my stomach sank without me knowing why. She was wearing that dress, soft, flowing, a color Ryan had once complimented when we were out shopping months ago. I tried to brush it off. It's just a dress, I told myself. But my chest tightened anyway. Dinner started normally. We laughed, talked about work, trivial things, old memories. But then I noticed it. The way Ryan leaned in when Maya told a story. The way his eyes sparkled a little more at her jokes than they had at mine in months. The way he didn't even glance at me when he laughed, like I was just another piece of furniture in the room. At first, I told myself I was imagining it. I wanted to believe it was nothing. But a small, nagging voice in my head whispered, something's off. Later that night, after Maya left, Ryan went to the living room to make a drink. I stayed in the kitchen, washing dishes, when I heard the soft ping of his phone. A smile spread across his face, quiet and unguarded. I froze, my hands gripping the sponge a little too tightly. He was texting someone. Just a normal text, nothing that screamed betrayal. But the way he grinned, the way his eyes softened, it wasn't just friendship. My heart started to race, and for a second, I didn't know whether to confront him or pretend I hadn't noticed. At first, I told myself I was being paranoid. Maybe he deserved a friend too. Maybe I was overthinking. But then I caught his eyes, just for a second, as he looked up from his phone. There was something in them, something that made my gut twist, something I couldn't ignore. I realized in that instant, this wasn't friendship. It had never been just friendship. And for the first time, a cold, heavy dread settled in my chest. That was the night I started watching everything. Every smile, every message, every subtle glance became a piece of a puzzle I didn't want to see but couldn't stop myself from piecing together. And what I saw later, what I saw later would break me completely. I didn't know it yet, but the world I had built, the love I thought was safe, the friendship I thought was untouchable, was about to crumble before my eyes. After that night, I couldn't stop replaying everything in my head. Every laugh Ryan shared with Maya, every small glance that lingered a little too long, every text I had accidentally glimpsed, it all started haunting me. I felt like I was trapped in my own mind, spinning in circles, unsure what was real and what was paranoia. My heart wanted to trust him, to believe that everything was normal. My mind, though, it screamed otherwise. I kept asking myself over and over, why would he need someone else? Am I not enough? Those words wouldn't leave me. I felt this heavy, sinking feeling in my chest, like I was watching my own life crumble slowly, quietly, and I couldn't do a thing to stop it. I started noticing things that never mattered before, the way Ryan's smile softened when he thought no one was looking, the way he lingered on his phone just a second too long, the faint scent of perfume that seemed familiar. And then there was Maya. I wanted to tell her everything, to lean on her the way I always had. So I did. I spilled my doubts, my fears, my heartache. And she listened, like she always did. She held my hands, squeezed them gently, and whispered, "Don't overthink it, babe. Ryan loves you. You're enough." I wanted to believe her. I needed to believe her. Her words were soft medicine to the raw wound inside me. But the irony, the cruel irony, was that she was the very reason my trust had started to crack. Every time I cried, Maya held me. Every time I doubted my marriage, she told me to hold on. I didn't know she was holding him too. That thought, if I had known, would have made my heart stop completely. And yet, even without knowing, there were these tiny, subtle signs that nagged at me, the way she started visiting more often when Ryan was home, offering friendly help with small things around the house, lingering just a little too long after saying goodbye. And the perfume, oh, that perfume. I noticed it on her coat, on the cushions where she sat, and one day, my stomach dropped so hard I thought it might cave in, because it was on Ryan's shirt, faint but unmistakable. I tried to reason with myself. Maybe it was nothing. Maybe I was losing it. But deep down, I knew I wasn't imagining it. Something had shifted. Something had changed between the three of us. I just couldn't put my finger on what it was, not yet. And that's what made the nights the hardest, lying awake in my bed, hearing the quiet hum of the house, wondering what I didn't know, fearing what I might discover if I looked too closely. I felt torn in two directions, trust and suspicion, hope and dread, love and fear. Every moment with Ryan felt heavy, every word from Maya felt loaded. I was exhausted, emotionally drained, and yet I couldn't stop myself from watching, from noticing, from trying to read the pieces of a puzzle that had no picture on the box. After that night, I couldn't stop noticing things. Every small detail started to feel like a clue, like a piece of a puzzle I wasn't sure I wanted to solve. The late-night messages on Ryan's phone became more frequent. Little notifications popping up at odd hours, always brief, always disappearing too quickly for me to catch. I'd see him glance at his phone and feel this tightening in my chest, like my stomach knew something my eyes couldn't see yet. And then there were Maya's weekends. Suddenly, she was always so busy, out of town, running errands, catching up with people I'd never heard of. At first, I believed her. I wanted to. But deep down, I couldn't shake the feeling that something was off. It wasn't just the timing, it was the pattern. Every time I wanted to talk to her, she had some excuse. Every time I tried to share my worries, she was gone. And when she was around, her energy felt different, lighter, brighter, as if she had secrets tucked under her smile. Ryan, too, started changing. When I asked about work, or anything really, he became defensive. A simple question would turn into tension, as if I was accusing him of something. He'd laugh nervously, change the subject, or brush me off entirely. It was subtle, just enough to make me second-guess myself. I started wondering if I was losing my mind. Was I imagining all of this? Was I being paranoid? Or was my intuition finally screaming something I didn't want to hear? Then one afternoon, a neighbor casually mentioned something that made my heart stop. She said she'd seen Maya's car outside my house, twice, in the middle of the day when I wasn't home. My hands went cold. I asked her to be sure, and she nodded. That sinking feeling returned, stronger than ever. I wanted to deny it, to pretend it wasn't happening. But the dots were connecting themselves, whether I wanted them to or not. Maya started avoiding me, too. The conversations that used to last hours became short, clipped, polite. She would change the subject whenever I tried to get close. Her laughter, once comforting, now felt rehearsed. I felt her slipping away from me, but I didn't know why, and I was terrified of losing her entirely. I felt like I was holding on to shadows, trying to grasp something that was already gone. Every day, I felt a little more untethered. Something was slipping through my fingers, the marriage, the friendship, my peace. And the worst part? I didn't know how much I'd already lost. Nights became the hardest. I would lie awake, listening to the quiet hum of the house, my mind spinning with what-ifs. Was I reading too much into things, or was the truth even worse than my imagination? And then, it happened. Until one day, I picked up Ryan's phone, and my world stopped. Everything I had feared, everything I had tried to ignore, slammed into me all at once. I saw it, the messages, the photos, the evidence that I had been right all along. And just like that, the fragile world I had clung to shattered in my hands. I couldn't breathe, couldn't think, couldn't believe that this was happening. The life I thought I knew, the people I thought I could trust, everything was gone. I remember the moment like it just happened yesterday. My hands were shaking as I picked up Ryan's phone, the weight of dread pressing down on my chest. I told myself, maybe it's nothing. Maybe it's just innocent, but I already knew. My gut had never been wrong before. I opened his messages, scrolling slowly, my heart hammering so loud I thought it would burst. And then I saw it, a string of deleted messages that somehow hadn't been fully wiped. Texts full of longing, inside jokes I didn't understand, pictures of them together that I couldn't unsee. And voice notes. Maya's voice, unmistakable, whispering things that made my stomach twist in knots. They had been seeing each other for months. Months. Every small suspicion, every fleeting doubt I had felt, it was all real. And then I saw a message that made my blood run cold: she trusts us too much to ever suspect. My trust, my friendship, my marriage, it had been a game to them. Every comforting word Maya had whispered, every moment I had leaned on her, every time I had trusted Ryan, used against me. I couldn't stay quiet. I had to confront him. I found Ryan in the kitchen, pretending to scroll on his phone. I threw the phone at him, and it clattered to the floor. "What is this?" I screamed, my voice raw, shaking. He didn't try to deny it. Not really. He just looked at me, his face pale, and muttered, "It just happened." Just happened? Just happened? My chest tightened as I realized this wasn't just a mistake, it was a choice. A choice they had made over and over again while I loved them both with everything I had. I called Maya next. I needed answers, or at least closure. Her voice was cool, calm, like nothing had changed. I could hear the slight smirk through the phone, and then she said it, "You're imagining things. This isn't what you think." Before I could respond, she hung up. And just like that, she blocked me. Vanished from my life without explanation, without remorse, without a shred of acknowledgement that she had destroyed me. I screamed until I couldn't breathe. My chest ached, my eyes burned, my stomach felt hollow. The pain wasn't just betrayal, it was humiliation. The two people I loved most in the world had built their happiness on my heartbreak. They had laughed while I cried. They had smiled while I suffered. Every memory, every shared secret, every ounce of trust, poisoned. I couldn't think, couldn't move, couldn't even form the words to cry properly. All I knew was that my world had fractured in the cruelest way possible. I felt small, insignificant, betrayed in ways that went beyond the heart. And yet, even in that moment of devastation, a part of me knew I had to survive this. I had to find a way to pick up the pieces of my life, even if it meant living with the scars forever. Don't miss the twists and revelations ahead. Subscribe now to Stories by TE to stay immersed in this emotional journey. The story isn't over yet, and what comes next will change everything. I didn't stay home that night. I couldn't. The walls that had once felt safe now seemed like they were closing in on me, suffocating me with memories of their laughter, their whispers, the way they had shared my life while secretly stealing it from me. I packed a bag in silence and left, driving aimlessly until I ended up at my sister's house. She hugged me without asking questions, and for the first time in days, I felt the barest glimmer of safety. But even there, I wasn't free. Ryan called constantly. His voice was filled with apology, regret, excuses. "I'm so sorry, Lena. It just happened. I never meant for this to happen." But words couldn't undo months of betrayal. They couldn't erase the voice notes, the messages, the pictures. They couldn't unweave the tangled web of lies that had wrapped itself around my heart. Maya disappeared entirely. Her social media vanished, her number went dead, and every place I looked, Instagram, Facebook, even mutual friends, she was gone. I wanted to hate her, to scream at her, to demand answers, but she had vanished like a ghost, leaving nothing but emptiness and betrayal behind. Everywhere I went, reminders hit me. Photos of Ryan laughing with her, old messages on my phone, a scent in the air that reminded me of her perfume. I tried to erase everything, deleted her number, blocked social media accounts, threw away gifts, even pictures, but you can't delete memories. They linger. They sit in your chest like heavy stones, pressing down until you can't breathe. Silence became my new language. I stopped answering calls. I stopped talking about it. I didn't want revenge. I didn't even want to feel. I just wanted the pain to stop. But it didn't. It lingered, gnawing at the edges of my mind, whispering that life would never feel the same again. I spent hours, days, weeks, thinking about what happened. Was I too trusting? Or were they just too broken? Could I have seen it coming? Could I have stopped it? The questions never ended. And the more I thought about it, the more I realized something about betrayal. It doesn't always start with desire. It starts quietly, with neglect, with distance, with silence. That space between people, when no one notices it or tries to fix it, that's where betrayal grows. And somehow, somewhere in the wreckage, I found forgiveness. Not because they deserved it. Not because Ryan or Maya had earned another chance. But because I deserved peace. Holding on to hate, holding on to anger, it would have destroyed me faster than anything they could do. Forgiveness was my way of reclaiming myself, of walking out of the shadow they had cast over my life. I used to think losing love was the worst thing that could happen. But now I know, losing trust is what truly breaks you. And some questions never get answers. Did they stay together? Did Ryan continue the affair after I left? I don't know, and maybe I'll never know. Some stories don't have endings. Some stories just leave scars and lessons. All I know is that I survived. And in surviving, I learned something vital. Love can be taken from you, trust can be shattered, but the part of you that chooses to keep going, that part is untouchable. And that is where real strength lies. I have to ask you something, and I mean this from the heart. What would you have done if you were in my shoes? If the people you loved most, the ones you trusted with everything, betrayed you in the most unimaginable way, could you ever forgive them? Could you forgive your best friend? Could you forgive your partner? Or would the pain be too deep, the trust too shattered? I want to hear from you. Tell me your thoughts, your experiences, your advice, whatever comes to mind. Write it in the comments below. Let's talk about it. Share your feelings with me, because stories like this, they're not just mine, they touch all of us who have loved, trusted, and been hurt. And if you want to hear more stories like this one, stories of love, betrayal, secrets, and the hard truths we often don't talk about, don't forget to like this video, share it with someone who understands, and subscribe to Stories by T. Because the next story, the next journey into trust, heartbreak, and the choices people make, might just change how you see trust forever. Your voice matters here. Your empathy matters. And your subscription means you won't miss the next story that will grip your heart, twist your mind, and leave you questioning the people you thought you knew.